Welcome back to the Fever for this week's Coaches Chalk Talk session. And this week we're glad to be joined by Lubbock Christian head coach Hutch Haley. Coach Haley, appreciate you coming in for us.
Thank you. Appreciate being
The
here.
Eagles are off to a good start. Well, off to a good start. You know, you're 8 games in. I don't guess you're off to a good start. But, you know, the Eagles are flying high right now. You got a big game against Pantego Christian this week, but coming off a big win over Carrollton Prince of Peace. And, Coach, I would think after 3 or 4 weeks of tough ball games, it's good to kind of finally put one away early and kind of cruise a little bit last week.
It was a very good game for us. I thought execution-wise was really good. And sometimes when you've got an advantage on another team, you have a tendency to maybe not give the effort you need to. But we stayed sharp on defense and offense, so I was real pleased with that. You
know, like we said, you've got the big game coming up this week. Were you concerned at all about the kids overlooking Prince of Peace and looking ahead to Pantego Christian?
Well, you know, that's always a challenge, and we were open last week, and then we had this game that, you know, it wasn't really something that our players were all that keyed up about. And so you could find yourself in that spot, and I think they worked hard in practice and respected their opponent, and I think that's going to help them this week.
You know, talk about the season so far, Coach. And this team, you know, is obviously your best team since you've had the state championship team a few years ago, and we talked about that during the preseason, you and I. But talk about what is making this team so good and play so well right now.
Well, I really believe it boils down to one thing, and that is that these players enjoy being together, and they are close, and you know that chemistry, you know, that's something you don't coach, and just the fact that they play for one another. They're not just out there playing for themselves. It's really a team effort. And it's a real joy to coach that kind of a group.
You had the one loss in district to Fort Worth Calvary, but since then, I mean, you reeled up 3 or 4 good wins and playing pretty good. Talk about the streak you guys are on here in district so far.
Well, you know, we had a tough test right after that Calvary game with Covenant, and we were fortunate to win that shootout, you know, 56 to 49, and I thought that was really good. Again, we were coming off of a district loss. It was our first loss of the season. It was homecoming for us and all the distractions, but they kept it together and played a great ball game, and then took that to Carrollton the next week. And so, you know, it really sets it up for a big game Friday night.
Is it tough I mean, because you guys with this district, I mean, you're pretty much out on an island out here like Lubbock is pretty much everywhere else in the state. But I mean, you're out here, and then all the other teams in this district are Arlington, Fort Worth, Carrollton. I mean, you guys, you know, this is a big travel district for you guys.
It's us and 6 Metroplex schools. And so, you know, we're going to make our 3rd trip to the Metroplex area. And you know, and it's something that we've done for years, and you just have to get used to it, you know. And of course, they complain about their one trip to West Texas once every 2 years. And so that kind of falls on deaf ears. But anyway, it is something that we have to work through and not, you know, focus on that and make it an excuse that we're having to do that much traveling.
Now, going into this week, you guys, Arlington, Pantego, Fort Worth, Calvary, all tied at 3-1 for the top spot in the district right now. You're going to Arlington, Pantego, who's coming off a loss, but you know you're wary of those guys. And we've got your defense basically going up against their offense. Talk about what you're looking for, what their offense might throw at you, and how you might be able to defend some of the things they do.
Sure. What they like to do, they've got a real talented player right here in Walker, number 20, and do a lot of what we call a hot give. You know, bring him in motion, and we'll hand him off. And if you get too focused on him on the edge, they're going to pop it up the middle with a good little fullback right here. And so, you know, we've got to be really solid. And they like to run to the numbers. So we're going to, you know, when they load up on one side or the other, we think they do have some tendencies in the way they line up, their formations. So, but they're good. They're a tradition school, and so we've got to take care of those zoom gives and hot gives, and then not allow them to hurt us up the middle. We've got to be solid.
Is this you know, it sounds like what they're trying to do is get out on the corners, use their speed. Is this a deal where you feel like your defense can get out there and be there to meet them when they get there?
One of the things we like to do is play hard corners. You know, reroute the receivers. And that also positions us for those, you know, those sweeps that they're bringing out there. So our corners should be in good shape. Our backers are going to be, you know, keying on that as well. And we still have, you know, coverage over the top. So we do feel like our defense is going to be good for what they're going to throw at us. But they have Good quickness out here. Number 5 is also very quick. Number 7 comes in. And so they've got good speed, good quickness that we're gonna have to be ready for.
Well, it sounds like an interesting matchup for the Eagles this week. A big game for Lubbock Christian going out to Arlington playing Pantego. Coach Haley, appreciate you coming in and joining us this week.
Thank you.
Okay, when we come back, we'll run down this week's games, and I'll give you my picks right here on the feature.